Hello, Theories and Skills students. Dr. Brazier here. I am actually coming to you from Philadelphia, where I am at the Association for Counselor, Educator, and Supervisor Conference. Dr. Thomas and I presented yesterday, and I'm spending a large portion of today trying to finish up all the role play grading. Please, please, please understand that I give feedback for every assignment. That includes discussion threads, that includes papers. You haven't written a paper for me yet, but you will by the end of this course. That includes skill setters, although you have to go into skill setter to view the feedback, the personalized feedback that I give you. And that very much includes role plays. I try to watch every minute of every role play and to give you comprehensive feedback on strengths and growth areas. You're not going to get a personalized invitation to do that. You have to go back into the assignment and look at the video feedback that I'm offering you for the role plays. Please do so. If you choose not to view the feedback that I give you and implement it, your grade in the second role play will likely suffer tremendously, because the feedback that I give you is intended to help you grow in your clinical skill set. So from a larger perspective, you have a professor willing to spend all the time to watch your entire role play. Not all professors do that, and I do that for you because I care about you and your growth. So from a larger perspective, I'm trying to give you the best feedback possible so you can grow as much as possible. But then also you are setting yourself up for poorer grades moving forward if you choose not to implement the feedback that you're given. But again, you're not going to get a personalized invitation. You have to go back into the assignment and view the video feedback, okay? So there is that. Secondly, some of you don't yet know your theoretical orientation. I can pretty much guarantee you that the inventories that you're taking in this class will not help you get there, especially if you have cognitive complexity, because you will view each theory as having some benefit, and you will be more confused by the fact that you find benefit in all of them, when in fact, it is not about the fact that a theory has benefit or not. All of them do, or I wouldn't teach them to you. It is finding the theory that fits best with who you already are and how you already see the world. I've offered to help. I'm issuing that offer again. If you get to Christmas and you don't know your theoretical orientation and you haven't chosen to use my Calendly link that you find in the student lounge to set up a 30-minute meeting with me so that I can help you find your theory, if you get there and you don't know your theory, that's on you, because I made the offer. And it is an offer of care, because it's a half hour out of my life. I'm offering you a half hour of my time just for you to help you find your theory. And so if you choose not to engage in that because you already know your theory, great. That's fine. If you don't like me, so you don't want to do that with me, that's fine. But just know that if you hit Christmas and you don't know your theory, it's probably because you chose not to take advantage of the offer that's been given to you. And so that the responsibility for the consequences of not knowing your theory that responsibility belongs squarely on your shoulders. Okay. I'm going to try to send out a generalized feedback video where I share some things that I saw across a lot of role plays, some sort of trouble areas, maybe even more than one. So please be on the lookout for those. I'll send them out as announcements as I make them. But let's talk about what you're doing here in session 7, which is focused on Gestalt therapy in 5-stage counseling session. So empathic relationships, story and strength, goals, restory, and action. In this session, you will learn the micro skills relevant to the 5-stage counseling session. Listening and empathic skills are essential to the process. Once you are sufficiently skilled in each of the areas, you will be ready to engage a client through an entire session using attending observation and basic listening skills. The session will also focus on Gestalt therapy and theory and techniques. This session will also examine the fit between various interventions and a client's presenting concerns. So, in other words, this session has a lot going on. In your TAN book, you're reading Chapter 9, Gestalt Therapy. In your Corey book, you're reading Chapter 8, Gestalt Therapy. And in your Ivy and Zalaquette book, you're reading Chapter 8, The 5-Stage Interview, Empathically Integrating Skills for Creative Change. You're also viewing like a 9.5 minute video here, and then a less than 2.5 minute video here. And then there is a link to counseling therapy, session 2, Gestalt therapy. So if you want to click on that link and watch that video, can do that as well. You will be watching a case of Stan example where I think Dr. Corey is using Gestalt therapy with Stan. This tells you how to do it. By now you should know that, I think sometimes you have to click on the MindTap link, and then you select Student Access to MindTap, and then you got to go in MindTap, which is outside of Brightspace, and you got to find Part 2, Chapter 8, and hit Apply It, knowing that that quiz that's associated with that doesn't connect back to Brightspace. There will be no grade issued for that, but it is helpful to see a therapy used in action. Your FICIP for this week is to read Luke 24:13 through 32 and reflect on the power and effect of deep listening that was illustrated in the story. You've got a skill setter going on here in Session 7, so let's take a look at what we've got for our skill setter. Session 7, how to conduct the 5-stage counseling session using only listening skills. You've got 2 optional ones. Again, I always say practice makes better. So if you want to do OCD client overcoming anxiety and agoraphobic client discusses their goals in therapy, please, with my encouragement, go ahead. But you for sure, as a required one, need to do the 3rd one, which is married clients talk about their goals in therapy. Looks like there are 20 points for that. And after you watch that and you do your response, there are 2 questions. That means that you have to do each of these 2 things. They're worth 10 points apiece, right? 20 points total. So question 1 is going to be worth 10 points. Question 2 is going to be worth 10 points. Question 1 is, did your response include a recognition of the ambivalence or incongruence regarding the client's feelings about the relationship and his goals for counseling? In other words, he's going to feel this way on one hand and this way on the other hand, and I need you to recognize that out loud. Okay, you've got to do it or I can't give you points. I want to give you all these points, right? So, client, on the one hand, you're telling us you want this, and on the other hand, you're telling me you want this. And then question 2 is, did the response include a question regarding which goal would make the most sense for the client? Work to leave the relationship or work to repair the relationship? Y'all, they are just spoon feeding you this. They're telling you exactly what you need to do. You need a statement regarding the discrepancy, the ambivalence, the polarity, whatever you want to call it. This hand this, and these are conflicting. So you got to have a statement that says that. So client, on the one hand, you say you want to do this, but then on the other hand, you say you want to do this, and then you have to ask the question. So can you help me understand which one you want more? Work to leave the relationship or work to repair the relationship? Friends, they're giving it to you. So if you choose not to do a statement that calls out this ambivalence, and then you choose not to do a question asking about it, which goal makes the most sense, then I know you didn't watch this announcement video. You're not paying attention to the rubric. And that makes me feel sad because then I can't give you full points, but you didn't earn them. So I'm not allowed to give them to you. Okay, there's a Gestalt inventory. You guys are used to those. And then the Session 7 study practice questions, keeping in mind that those are prepping you for the final exam, which will not be open book, open note, open everything. It will be timed or whatever. But here you can have as many attempts as you want, and it can be open book, open note, open everything. So please consider it what it is, which is, yes, it's a quiz for minimal point grade, but mostly it's prepping you for that final exam near the end of our course. All right, look for those generalized feedback videos from your Session 5 role plays to be coming out soon. Go in, watch the video feedback I gave you specifically on your role play, and start thinking now about the adjustments you want to make, the way you want to implement my feedback for your next role play. And have a wonderful week. Thanks.